Hello everybody, welcome to the virtual quiz. My name is John Edwards. I'll be your host for around about the next hour as we go through this quiz. Thanks to everybody that's liked or followed us on Facebook. We're up to around about 150 followers now, which is absolutely amazing. I'm really pleased with the response, and I hope that I'm able to bring you some more content and some entertainment in these very trying times. Hope you're all well, or as well as you can be, and you haven't got sick just yet. I know things are teetering at the moment, but I think we will all get through this. I certainly hope that we will. That's enough mentioning about that. I'll move on to more positive things. We'll be live streaming on Wednesday and Sunday at 8 p.m. If you want to get involved in the stream, all you've got to do is log on to Facebook or YouTube. We're also on Periscope and Twitch, all under the virtual quiz. Please come along and interact as much as you can. I'll try and get as many of you involved or put up your messages on the stream that I can. Obviously, it's difficult to moderate everything, but I'll do my very, very best. Also want to get a couple of families involved. So all you've got to do as well on that is go to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/the virtual quiz. Like the page or follow it, and I'll pick out 2 families that are random through an app, and I'll get you involved in the streams. That's Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 p.m. If you're enjoying what we're doing, I'd really appreciate it if you could like or comment on anything. I know Sunday's stream is a little bit difficult and a little bit quick, but we learn by our mistakes, and I've slowed everything right down, and I've made this all a little bit more accessible to everybody. I do apologise for that. The trouble is when you're looking at something on a screen and the answer's right in front of you, it seems so very obvious, but I have learned from it and have listened, and hopefully you're finding these a little bit easier. So this is quiz number 3, exactly the same format as all the other ones. It's 50 questions, 5 sections in each of them. I'm going to try and put some more picture rounds up. Let me know if you liked quiz number 2, if you've seen it yet, and I'll involve more of that, because obviously I could just be reading this in a pub without any visual information, but we've got the power of the internet here, so that should make things a little bit better. Great, right, so we'll jump straight into round 1. All you need is a pen and paper. Obviously you could Google the answers, but it kind of defeats the object. I don't know if you've ever played a computer game and entered a cheat code. As soon as you do that, it makes the game no more fun, apart from Grand Theft Auto 5, which is still quite good fun because you need to get rid of the police. But anyway, as soon as you enter a cheat code or start cheating, it doesn't become interesting anymore. When we're in the live stream as well, try and put the answers in the chat. I'd really appreciate that, but obviously it is going to happen. But once we're in the live stream, I'll tell you how to disable that. But it would be great to see as many of you as we can on Wednesdays and Sundays. Right, so without much further ado, let's head into round number 1. So round number 1 is general knowledge quiz. I'll start most of them off with a general knowledge, and then we'll get more specialist as we go through. There's a few rounds in here for ladies that are watching as well. I've got a fashion round as well, so hopefully there should be something for everybody. Right, so without much further ado, which email service is owned by Microsoft? I had an account with this service when it pretty much first opened, pretty much a prime email address, but obviously they didn't quite keep up with the times. Just so you're aware, it's not Outlook. Which email service is owned by Microsoft? Web-based. Question number 2. What is meteorology the study of? Fairly important in my previous career I go back to. We were pretty reliant on this. It was pretty much our bread and butter. What is meteorology the study of? Question number 3. Which natural disaster is measured with a Richter scale? I hope you've never been involved in this. Question 3. Which natural disaster is measured with a Richter scale? Question number 4. What is this sequence of numbers called? 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 and 13. Said to be the building blocks of nature. What is this sequence of numbers called? 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 and 13. Like I say, the building blocks of nature. Question 5. Which animal can be seen on the Porsche logo? You'll know this if you're lucky enough to own one of these cars. Which animal can be seen on the Porsche logo? Should be fairly straightforward. Most people know that one, but you never know. Question 6. Which European nation was said to invent hot dogs? I'm sure you've all had a hot dog. Don't know if it's good lockdown food, but popularised more in the United States, but they didn't originate there. Where did they originate? Which European nation was said to invent hot dogs? Question 7. In which body part can you find the femur? Question 7. In which body part can you find the femur? So if there's any medics or nurses or anyone in the NHS, thank you so much for everything you're doing. Hugely appreciated. You're pretty much the heroes of our nation at the moment. That's going to be an easy one for you, but which body part can you find the femur? Question 8. Which city in India would you find the Taj Mahal in? I visited there when I was a young lad with my dad, and we got told to get off 2 stations before so that the taxi driver could force us to drive there, because that was the only transport to get there. But which city in India would you find the Taj Mahal in? Question 9. What is the name of the song that Queen Elsa sings as she builds her ice castle in the movie Frozen? Now, if there's any kids out there that are watching this, they're screaming that out right now. And if you're a parent and the kids are in bed, I'm sure you've heard this song about 1,000 times over. So this isn't going to be a great surprise, but if you've not got young children, this might be a bit tricky. What is the name of the song that Queen Elsa sings as she builds her ice castle in the movie Frozen? And question 10, finally, for the end of round 1. What is a female donkey called? Question 10. What is a female donkey called? I don't know if you've ever had a donkey ride. Easter was only yesterday, and that was what Jesus rode in on. What was a female donkey called? I don't know if it was one of these or a male donkey. In any case, that's the question. Right, just to recap round number 1. Question 1, what email service is owned by Microsoft? That's the web-based service. Question number 2, what is the meteorology the study of? Question number 3, which natural disaster is measured with a Richter scale? Question number 4, what is the sequence of numbers called 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 and 13? Question 5, which animal can be seen on the Porsche logo? Question number 6, which European nation was said to invent hot dogs? Question number 7, in which body part can you find the femur? Question number 8, which city is the Taj Mahal located? Question number 9, what is the name of the song that Queen Elsa sings as she builds the ice castle in the movie Frozen? And question number 10, what is a female donkey called? Brilliant. I hope that wasn't too tricky for you. Again, let me know down in the comments below. I think the pacing is okay now, so I shouldn't be going too quick. But I hope you didn't find that round too taxing. There's a few gimmies in there, but certainly enough such that there should be a little bit of a split for you. Great. I'll just let you finalize your answers, and then we'll move on to round number 2. So round number 2 is TV and film. Without much further ado, let's head into question number 1. In what TV show would you find the characters Badger and Skinny Pete? Brilliant series on Netflix. If you haven't seen it yet, there's about the next 3 days of your life gone. Frank Abagnale Jr. was played by who in the movie Catch Me If You Can? Again, another brilliant movie. Frank Abagnale Jr. was played by who in the movie Catch Me If You Can? Question number 2. Brilliant story. Question number 3, in which fictional land is Game of Thrones set? Again, if you haven't seen that, there goes another 5 days. I've just given you 8 days of viewing. But I think that's on Now TV, or certainly on Sky at the moment if you want to watch that. In which fictional land is Game of Thrones set? Question number 3. Certainly not something to watch if you've got anything else going on in the background, because you'll just miss a whole plot line in about 2 sentences. Question number 4. The show Narcos is based upon the life of who? That's the first series, not seasons 2 and 3. Again, if you haven't seen that, go and watch that. It's fantastic. Really, really well made Netflix original. Based on the life of who, though? Question number 4. Again, as all these drug and gangster things, it doesn't end up well for them. Question number 5. The movie The Pianist is based in what time period? Now, not looking for specific dates, but the time period that it was in. So if you know the exact date, fantastic. But just looking for what event did it take place during? Question number 5. The movie The Pianist is based on what time period? Again, an amazing film. If you haven't seen it, I'm trying to give you a few recommendations as we go through here. Go and watch it. It's absolutely amazing. Question 6. In which television series did Roger Moore star from 1962 to 1970? Obviously, he was more popularised or better known for playing James Bond. Not as Ian Fleming designed him. He was a little bit too comical. Ian Fleming designed him to be quite dark. But in which television series did Roger Moore star from 1962 to 1970? I think that springboarded him into the role. Question 7. What was Arnold Schwarzenegger's original nationality? Many times Mr. Olympia, and if you haven't seen or listened to Tim Ferriss's podcast with Arnold Schwarzenegger, listen to it. It's absolutely amazing. You'll see a whole nother side to Arnie. He's really quite a funny and highly intelligent guy. He was a millionaire before he got into bodybuilding. What was Arnold Schwarzenegger's original nationality? He actually made all his money out of Little and Large. Number 8. What was the cartoon character married to Jessica in a film starring Bob Hoskins? Now, if you weren't attracted to Jessica in this film like I was, I think you're lying. That's the only cartoon character I've ever been had a strange attraction to. Who was the cartoon character married to Jessica in a film starring Bob Hoskins? If I gave you a second name, I'd give you the answer. Question 9. How did James Dean die? Question number 9. How did James Dean die? And question number 10, finally, the Wolf of Wall Street movie is based on the true story of which former American stockbroker? Again, fantastic film. Highly recommend watching that if you haven't. I'm pretty sure that everybody watching that has. But the Wolf of Wall Street is based on the true story of which former American stockbroker? Great, so quickly just to recap the questions from round number 2. So number 1, in what TV show would you find the character's Badger in Skinny Pete? Question number 2, Frank Abagnale Jr. was played by who in the movie Catch Me If You Can? Question number 3, in which fictional land is the Game of Thrones set? Question number 4, in the TV show Narcos is based upon the life of who, and that's season 1. The movie The Pianist is based in what time period? Not looking for specific dates, but if you got it, great. But I'm looking for the event during those dates. In which television series did Roger Moore star from 1962 to 1970? Question number 7. What was Arnold Schwarzenegger's original nationality? Question number 8. Who is a cartoon character married to Jessica in a film starring Bob Hoskins? And question number 9, how did James Dean die? And question number 10, the Wolf of Wall Street movie is based on the true story of which former American stockbroker? Great, how did you get on there? Hopefully that wasn't too tricky, or you got a good number there. Again, as always, let me know in the comments below how you fared there. Just to recap, we will be live streaming Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 PM. I'd love to get as many of you as we can into the stream. Like I say, all you got to do is go onto our Facebook page, hit the like or follow button, and I'll pick out 2 families at random and we'll get them into the stream. Thank you so much to everybody that's engaged on social media so far. It's really heartwarming to know that me sat in front of this little camera in my living room is at least making an impact on a few of you in these times. Great, so we'll move on to round number 3. Round number 3 is true or false. So basically you've got a 50-50 chance on each of them, but they're kind of funny facts that you may or may not know. So there's a little bit of chance involved here, but hopefully you might end up learning something at the end of it. Right, so let's move on to question number 1. So Paul McCartney's middle name is James. So all you need to put down is that true or false? So Paul McCartney's middle name is James. So it makes a load of noise when I put it down. Question number 2 says Steve Redgrave is the only rower to have received the award of the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. All you need is a true or false. Sir Steve Redgrave is the only rower to have received the award of BBC Sports Personality of the Year. Is that true or false? For question number 2. Question number 3. There are some wasps that make honey. Is that true or false? Traditionally, obviously, bees make honey. Are there any wasps that make honey? Question number 4. Brandon Lee died during the filming for The Crow in 1994 after an accident with a prop gun during a shooting scene. Son of Bruce Lee. Question 4. Brandon Lee died during filming for The Crow in 1994 after an accident with a prop gun during a shooting scene. Is that true or false? Question 5. The black box in an aeroplane is black. True or false? The black box in an aeroplane is black. Is that true or false? Question 6. Approximately 1/4 of the human bones are in the feet. Is that true or false? Question number 6. Approximately 1/4 of the human bones are in the feet. Is that true or false? Question 7. A slug's blood is green. Never tried this one out, but question 7. A slug's blood is green. Is that true or false? Question number 8. Centipedes always have 100 feet. True or false? Centi means 100. Pede means feet. Centipedes always have 100 feet. Question 9. Okay, this one's good for all of us that are not exercising much at the moment. Muscle will turn to fat if you stop exercising. Many of us are at home at the moment not doing the exercise that we probably want or are used to, me included. Is that muscle that I've got going to turn into fat now I've stopped exercising? Be a good one to ask Joe Wicks. And finally, question number 10. Virtually all Las Vegas gambling casinos ensure they have no clocks. Don't know if you've been to Las Vegas. I have twice. Probably seen my last visit there. Didn't really enjoy it. Not my kind of place. But virtually all Las Vegas gambling casinos ensure that they have no clocks. Is that true or false? Okay, just to recap those questions then. So Sir Paul McCartney, question number 1. His middle name is James. True or false? Question number 2. Sir Steve Redgrave is the only rower to have received the award of BBC Sports Personality of the Year. Question 3. There are some wasps that make honey. Yes or no? Brandon Lee died during the filming for The Crow in a 1994 after an accident with a prop gun during a shooting scene. The black box, question number 5, the black box on an airplane is black. Question number 6, approximately 1/4 of the human bones are in the feet. Question number 7, a slug's blood is green. Question 8, centipedes always have 100 feet. Question 9, muscle turns into fat after you stop exercising. And finally, question 10, virtually all Las Vegas casinos ensure that they have no clocks. Right, let's go back and review our answers for question number 1. So you can, rounds 1 to 3, so that you can mark your sheets. I'll just give you a couple of seconds there to move your sheets around the room if you're at home and competing amongst yourselves, or if you're in a Zoom chat or anything else. I'll just let you have a quick 20 seconds to organise yourself and change any answers or finalise any answers that you've got. As always, let me know in the chat down below if there's how you're getting on, how you're finding it so far. Really interested to hear your feedback. Like I say, and I said at the beginning of the stream, I just want to make sure that we get this so that it's entertaining for everybody, but still makes you think a little bit. Great, so let's go back to round number 1, and I'll give you the answers for that. So question number 1, which email service is owned by Microsoft? I'm not sure if any of you are still using it. I haven't seen many people give me this email address very often these days. It was a little bit of a security thing for a while, I think, but that's Hotmail. I think there are still people using it, but certainly Gmail seems to be de rigueur now. That's certainly what we're using. Sorry, press the wrong button there. Question number 2, what is the meteorology the study of? It's the weather. My previous career, that was, we used to look at that all the time. Always concerned with what was happening with the weather. Question number 3, which natural disaster is measured with a Richter scale? They are earthquakes. You was here after an earthquake, they say it measured 7 on the Richter scale or something like that. I think anything above about 6 is going to have consequences. But yeah, all the countries that are on a fault line or near a fault line suffer from that. So places like Los Angeles, Japan, etc. Question number 4, what is this sequence of numbers called? That is the Fibonacci sequence, basically seen all throughout nature, adding up the last 2 numbers before it, starting with 0. Question 5, which animals can be seen on the Porsche logo? Or sorry, which animal? That is a horse. A bit like the Ferrari logo, it's prancing horse. Don't know who got there first, but certainly horses seem to be fairly prevalent on car brands. If you're lucky enough to own a Porsche, it's a horse on the logo. Following on from that theme, Porsche being German, which European nation was said to invent hot dogs? That was also Germany. Porsche being in Stuttgart, I don't know whereabouts in Germany it was, but if you think of a Frankfurter sausage or a Frankfurter hot dog, that's where they originated. Usually it was drinking food around Bavaria, etc. Question number 7, in what body part can you find the femur? That is in the leg. You break your femur, you're going to know about it. It's probably the most serious bone to break in your body. It's where the femoral artery is, which runs down your leg. If you break your femur, you're probably going to have severed your femoral artery as well. So they treat it incredibly seriously, because you can bleed out, pretty much lose all your blood through your legs. So it's a very, very serious bone to break in your body. Question number 8, in which city in India would you find the Taj Mahal in? It's Agra. again, when we visited there, we were on a train, and what the guys do is they come onto the train about 2 stops before, and you can't read the train sign, and say you want to get Taj Mahal, and they'll say you need to get off at this station, and of course you get off the train, and then they say this isn't Agra, but I can take you in my taxi there and charge you through the nose for it. So that's what nearly happened to us. We managed to just avoid it, but that's the trick that gets pulled in India. Question number 9. What is the name of the song that Queen Elsa sings as she builds her ice castle in the movie Frozen? It is, of course, Let It Go. I hear some people singing that as a bit of an irony. Someone's getting a bit wound up. And question number 10. What is a female donkey called? You either know this one or you don't really. It is a Jenny. Okay, how did you get on in that round? I hope it wasn't too taxing, or you got a fairly decent score. Move on to the answers for round 2 now. That is TV and film. So, in which TV show would you find the characters Badger and Skinny Pete? That is, of course, Breaking Bad. Like I say, if you haven't seen that, go and give it a watch. It's really, really good fun. I think the first 2 seasons are a bit slow, but it picks up after that. Kind of what you expect in the ending, though, to be honest. Question number 2. Frank Abagnale Jr. was played by who in the movie Catch Me If You Can? It was, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio. Brilliant film. Basically fake being an airline pilot or in order to travel around the world, and he faked Pan Am checks. Probably one of the biggest fraudsters of all time, and ended up working for the FBI as a consultant. Question number 3. In which fictional land is Game of Thrones set? It's Westeros. Very disappointing ending. I'm sure you'll all agree with me there. It was like they just rushed the ending. Quick, we need to end it. So let's just tie off all the knots. Question number 4. The TV show Narcos is based on the life of who? It's Pablo Escobar. Like I say, things didn't end particularly well for him. Most of the stories I hear about drug kingpins is they end up more and more isolated in tiny little villas in the middle of nowhere. And he was no exception, really. Question number 5. The movie The Pianist is based in what time period? It was World War II. It was a concert pianist, a Jewish concert pianist, that was rounded up by the Gestapo and put into a ghetto. Basically had to fight for his life. Absolutely amazing film. Highly recommend it. I think it's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch that and you haven't seen it yet. Very, very moving. Question 6. In which television series did Roger Moore star from 1962 to 1970? Was The Saint. Question 7. What was Arnold Schwarzenegger's original nationality? A lot of people think he was German. He's actually Austrian. He was so focused on winning Mr. Olympia when his dad died in the middle of the preparation for the Mr. Olympia, he didn't go back for the funeral. Because he said it was just a distraction to what he was trying to do. But when you listen to him talking about it, it seems kind of rational, but I think I'd still go back for my dad's funeral. Question number 8. Who was the cartoon character married to Jessica in the film starring Bob Hoskins? That was Roger the Rabbit. It was Jessica Rabbit who he was married to. Question number 9. How did James Dean die? He died in a car accident, sadly. And question number 10. The Wolf of Wall Street movie is based on the true story of which former American stockbroker? It was, of course, Jordan Belfort. Again, fantastic film. Can't believe the stuff that they pulled. I don't know if he's back on his feet now, but I know he was doing speaking gigs and having to pay back I don't think he was able to take any money for any of the speaking gigs that he was doing. So, yeah, but it was a really, really good film. Really enjoyed that one. Great. How did you get on in that round? Wonder what your scores are. Hope you're all totting up against each other. Let's give you the answers for round number 3 then. So round 3 was the true or false round. So a little bit of potluck here, but Hopefully you knew a couple of them. But if not, hopefully you'll learn a couple of things or a couple of useless facts that you can use at another pub quiz or at some other point. So Paul McCartney's middle name is James. That's false. James is his first name. His middle name is actually Paul. Question number 2. So Steve Redgrave is the only rower to have received the award of the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. That's true. I thought one of the other guys would have got it as well, but just Sir Steve has got it. BBC Sports Personality of the Year. Question number 3. There are some wasps that make honey. I think you probably could have guessed this. Yes, it's true. The Polystene paper wasp is one such wasp. I've never had wasp honey. I'm sure it's almost as nice. But it's true that not just the bees make honey. And Einstein actually said if the bees went extinct, we'd go extinct as well. Question number 4. Brandon Lee died during the filming for The Crow in 1994 after an accident with a prop gun during a shooting scene. That's true. A lot of people thought it was a premonition or something like, because Bruce Lee was so spiritual, it was something to do with that. But yeah, he actually died during the filming of The Crow. Quite a sad story for that family, really. Question 5. The black box in an aeroplane is black. That's false. It's actually orange, so it's easy to find or easier to find in an air accident investigation. It's actually orange and they're located in the rear of the aeroplane so that it gets thrown away in an accident. Usually the tail of the aircraft is one of the easiest things to find. Question 6. Approximately 1/4 of the human bones are in the feet. That's true. 52 bones are in the feet out of the 206 total in the body, which is why when you break your foot, it's a nightmare. I've broken my metatarsal and I can tell you it's very painful and took a long time to heal. Obviously because you put a lot of weight on your feet. But ask anybody that's broken their foot and they'll tell you it's a nightmare. I can still feel it on cold nights these days. Question 7. A slug's blood is green. That's true. That's kind of a 50-50 guess there, isn't it? They're all green. You'd expect their blood to be green as well. Question number 8. Centipedes always have 100 feet. That's false. Question number 9. Muscle turns to fat if you stop exercising. It is false. Muscle cells and fat cells are two completely different types of cells. So don't worry if you're not doing anything. The reason you're probably putting on a load of weight is because you're not doing any exercise and probably eating as much as you were beforehand. So now the fact that you're not doing as much exercise, you need to reduce your diet, but of course your hunger is still the same. So that'll probably be the reason you're putting on weight. It's not that your muscles turning into fat, it's just that you're probably on your existing diet and you're not doing as much exercise. So don't worry, it's a myth. It's an absolute myth that muscle turns into fat. Muscle's actually heavier than fat as well. So if you're a muscular person, you're going to be heavier, but muscle will waste if you don't get enough protein. Anyway, that's enough of the Joe Wicks talk. Question number 10. Virtually all Las Vegas gambling casinos ensure that they have no clocks. That's true. They also pump oxygen in around about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to wake you up, keep you gambling, keep you at the tables. And that's why they give you free alcohol as well, just so that you get a little bit more loose with your money and put more money into the house. So yeah, that's why they say the house always wins. And as I say, I'm not a huge fan of Las Vegas. They've seen my last dollar. Great, so hope you enjoyed that. I wonder what your scores are. Let me know in the chat below how you're finding the questions and everything as we're going along. Really keen to hear how you're enjoying the quiz and how you're all getting on in lockdown as well, is whether you're keeping in touch with all your family and your friends. We're all trying to find new ways of communicating, this being one of them. Myself, I used to run pub quizzes when we were at university. Sunday nights, it started off like everything, quite quiet, and then turned into one of the most popular nights in the week. So really, really enjoyed it. I love doing this and looking up the questions, etc. And it used to take up almost as much time as my university work. Right, so on to question number, round number 4. That is fashion. That's something for the women that are watching. I know we've got quite a few women watching. Again, it's quite hard finding questions on fashion that aren't too difficult. So again, let me know how you're finding the difficulty level as we go through the quiz. Just give you another couple of seconds so you can finalise your answers and maybe have a little brag amongst yourselves, or just say how you're getting on. But let's move on to round number 4, that is fashion. Right, so London Fashion Week is held twice a year in which 2 months? This is going to be something you either know or you don't know. London Fashion Week is held twice a year in which 2 months? Central London goes absolutely crazy when this is on. All the event spaces are booked out. Mercedes driving everywhere. Question 2. What trademark characteristic are Christian Louboutin shoes known for? Have you got a pair of these? I know they're ridiculously expensive for a piece of leather, but it's women's armour, isn't it? Their shoes. What trademark characteristic are Christian Louboutin shoes known for? They are lovely shoes, though. Not that I'm a shoe guy. But very, very classic. Not too crazy. And obviously Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City was a big fan of Christian Louboutin. Question number 3. Which fashion designer was shot dead on the 15th of July 1997 on the steps of his Miami Beach mansion? Which fashion designer was shot dead on the 15th of July 1997 on the steps of his Miami Beach mansion? Sad. Question 4. Mary Phelps Jacob invented which item of clothing, an invention for which she filed a patent in 1914? Question 4. Mary Phelps Jacob invented which item of clothing, an invention for which she filed a patent in 1914? Again, if you don't know, you'll probably have an educated guess at that. Question 5. Question 5. Polo, Chaps and Club Monaco are all divisions of which company or brand? Probably get it from the first one, but anyway. Question 5. Polo, Chaps and Club Monaco are all divisions of what company or brand? Question 6. Most pair of jeans come with 5 of what? Jeans, of course, popularised in the gold rush. They were originally made for tents. Levi's decided to turn them into trousers because they had an excess amount of denim. Most pair of jeans come with 5 of what? Question 7. In which decade was the miniskirt invented? Don't see too many miniskirts these days, but they're all the rage during the period they came out and for some time afterwards, but a little bit controversial these days, aren't they? In which decade was the miniskirt invented? Question 8. Which fashion designer is often credited with the idea of the necessity of the little black dress? If you're watching this and you're a lady, I'm sure you've got a little black dress in your wardrobe. Which fashion designer is often credited with the idea of the necessity of the little black dress? Which I'm sure you've got, or you're conjuring up in your mind now, which one it is. Question 9. Where was Vera Wang born? Famous, of course, for wedding dresses. Duchess of Cambridge wore Vera Wang at her wedding. But whereabouts was she born? And question number 10, in which branch of the military did Ralph Lauren serve in the 1960s? Again, if you don't know the answer, it's basically a 1 in 3, isn't it? You think about the 3 branches of the military, although in the US they treat the Coast Guard as a military, but in which brand of the military did Ralph Lauren serve in the early 1960s? Again, if you don't know the answer, you've got 1 in 3 chance there. Okay, so just to recap the questions to round number 4, fashion round. Question number 1, London Fashion Week is held twice a year in which 2 months? Question number 2, what trademark characteristics are Christian Louboutin shoes known for? Question 3, which fashion designer was shot dead on the 15th of July 1997 on the steps of his Miami Beach mansion? It would be a mansion, wouldn't it? Question 4, Mary Phelps Jacob invented which item of clothing, an invention for which she filed a patent in 1914? Question number 5, Polo, Chaps and Club Monaco are all divisions of which company or brand name? 6, most pair of jeans comes with 5 of what? Question number 7, in which decade was the miniskirt invented? Question number 8, which fashion designer is often credited with the idea of the necessity of a little black dress? Question 9, where was Vera Wang born? And question number 10, in which branch of the military did Ralph Lauren serve in the early 1960s? Fantastic. Hope you enjoyed that round. That was one for all the girls that I've got watching. Hope you enjoyed that one. Round 5 coming up now. I'm just going to let you finalise your answers, tot it all up, and just do your maths. I know I'm not particularly good at that in my head. So let me know how you're getting on again at the end of the stream. Just to recap, Wednesdays and Sundays live streaming at 8 p.m. If you could engage with us on Facebook, that'd be absolutely amazing. With facebook.com/the virtual quiz. Also on Instagram, the virtual quiz. And Twitter, the virtual quiz as well. And if you want to send us an email, I'd love to hear from you. It's thevirtualquiz@gmail.com. So if you could reach out and contact us, let us know how you're getting on. Love to hear your stories. Also, let us know what you'd like to see more of. And also, if you go and like our page on Facebook, we'll also contact 2 of you in the coming weeks to get in on the live stream, so we can make this as interactive as possible. Also, in the live streams, I'll try and get as many of the comments and interactions as I can on the screen, so just so we can keep this all about you guys. Brilliant. Right, so final round now. Again, 10 questions. This is potluck, basically. Very similar in vein to general knowledge, but a little bit more potluck, really, is the best way to describe it. Right, so pens and papers at the ready. Question number 1. What is the hobby of a campanologist? What is the hobby of a campanologist? Question number 2. In the Royal Navy, what food is referred to as a snorker? You've seen the film The Cruel Sea, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you've been in the Royal Navy, you'll also know what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's a few people out there that have been in the Royal Navy. But what food is referred to as a snorker? Probably work it out. Question 3. Which wind of North America shares its name with a helicopter? So if you know your aviation and you know your helicopters, you'll probably be able to work that out. There's a few helicopters that are named after North American indigenous tribes, but which wind of North America shares its name with a helicopter? It's a great helicopter as well, a real workhorse. I'm sure you've seen it many, many times. Question number 4. Which cartoon character had the catchphrase, "By the power of grayskull"? I used to love this. Do you remember it? One of my favourites. I used to sit up every morning on the weekend and watch this. Which cartoon character had the catchphrase, "By the power of grayskull"? That might be a little bit before some of your times, but no doubt those of you that are around my era or thereabouts will have heard this one. Question number 5. Who was assassinated on the 4th of April 1968? Question 5. Who was assassinated on April 4th, 1968? So I realise some of these questions are a little bit more tricky, but just in case you're all quite tired, this might sort you out a little bit, or at least test your knowledge. Question 6. Who is the cartoon character Buzz Lightyear named after? Again, you'll probably work that out. Question 6. Who was the cartoon character Buzz Lightyear named after? Right, I'm not even going to try and pronounce this, but I'll do my best. Randigari means "I love you" in which language? I'm sure there's people that are watching that shout that straight out at the screen. I do love you guys. Randigari means "I love you" in which language? I've probably absolutely murdered that, but I'm sure you're shouting at the screen at me now. Question number 8. What are the two main political parties in the United States? Almost impossible to run as an independent candidate. Pretty much got a foothold in everything, unlike in the UK. But what are the two main political parties in the United States? Obviously, that was going to be a little bit more prominent until this all happened. But there are two main political parties. What are they? Question number 9. Who wanted to ask the Wizard of Oz for courage? Question number 9. Who wanted to ask the Wizard of Oz for courage? And question number 10. In past times, what would a gentleman keep in his fob pocket? Question number 10. In past times, what would a gentleman keep in his fob pocket? Don't really see many of them these days, or indeed a fob pocket, but they're still almost there on waistcoats, etc. Great, so just a quick review of those questions for round number 5 potluck. What is the hobby of a campanologist? Question number 1. Question number 2. In the Royal Navy, what food is referred to as a snorker? Question number 3. Which wind of North America shares its name with a helicopter? Question number 4. Which cartoon character had the catchphrase, "By the power of Grayskull"? Question number 5. Who was assassinated on April the 4th, 1968? Question number 6. Who was the cartoon character Buzz Lightyear named after? Question number 7. You're going to laugh at me, but anyway. Ren di gadi di means I love you in which language? Question number 8. What are the 2 main political parties in the United States? Question number 9. Who wanted to ask the Wizard of Oz for courage? Question number 10. Last question of the quiz. In past times, what would a gentleman keep in his fob pocket? Brilliant. All your answers should be in now. I'll just give you another couple of seconds to finalise your answers, and then we'll go back to round number 4 and give you the answers for that. We'll score it, and then you can total up all your answers, and we can work out who's won amongst the group that you're watching. Or indeed, if you're just on your own and you want to see how you fared, let me know in the chat below. So it'd be great to see what kind of scores you got. Great. So back to question number, round number 4. That was fashion. So London Fashion Week is held twice a week in which 2 months? It's February and September. So I don't know if that's winter or summer. Maybe someone can pop in the chat what they are. I don't know, but that's when the 2 months are. So what trademark characteristic get Christian Louboutin shoes known for? It's red soles. You can always spot someone wearing Louboutins. It's like a badge of honour, isn't it? Question number 3. Which fashion designer was shot dead on the 15th of July 1997 on the steps of his Miami Beach mansion? It was Gianni Versace. Question number 4. Mary Phelps Jacob invented which item of clothing, an invention for which she filed a patent in 1914? It was the modern bra. Not the Wonder Bra, the modern bra. Question number 5. Polo, Chaps and Club Monaco are all divisions of what company? It's Ralph Lauren. It's going to feature later on as well. He's doing all right for himself these days, isn't he? 6. Most pairs of jeans come in 5 of what? That's pockets. Pockets. Question 7. In which decade was the miniskirt invented? That was in the 1960s. Mary Quant and Parisian Anne Corrigas have both been credited with the miniskirt, but it was in the 1960s that they were invented and popularised. Which fashion designer is often credited with the idea of the necessity of a little black dress? It was, of course, Coco Chanel. Loads of interesting facts about Coco Chanel. Question 9. Where was Vera Wang born? Probably guess if you don't know. She's American. Of course, she was born in New York. Probably one of the most famous wedding dress designers in the world was a Vera Wang dress. And question number 10. Which brand of the military did Ralph Lauren serve in the early 1960s? Again, if you didn't know this, you probably have a stab at it, but it was the Army. Served in 1962 until 1964. Great, so let you just tot up your answers, finalise everything there. And then we'll move on to the answers for the potluck round. So I got that wrong, just roll that out. So round number 5 then, in what is the hobby of a campanologist? That's bell ringing. Don't know if you know any bell ringers. I don't. But yeah, that's what their hobby is. Question number 2. In the Royal Navy, what food is referred to as a snorker? It's a sausage. As I say, if you've seen the film The Cruel Sea, which was on BBC iPlayer, it seems to have dropped off now. The lieutenant in there was very, very keen on his snorkers. Not referred to so often now, but if you mention to anybody in the Royal Navy what snorker is, they'll tell you. Question number 3. Which wind of North America shares its name with a helicopter? It's a Chinook, or the Chinook. Twin-engine, twin-blade helicopter that's used by the Royal Air Force for most tactical movement, based at Royal Air Force Odium. Pretty much been the workhorse of the helicopter world for many, many years now. Used in special forces, etc., etc. Designed by Boeing. Question number 4. Which cartoon character had the catchphrase by the power of grayskull? It was He-Man. He-Man Skeletor, do you remember that? Absolutely amazing cartoon. I don't know if it's made a comeback, but certainly one from my childhood. And you speak to most kids now, they've heard of it, but I don't know quite how much it's on the TV these days. Question number 5. Who was assassinated on the 4th of April 1968? It was Martin Luther King Jr. Question 6. Who is the cartoon character Buzz Lightyear named after? Buzz Aldrin, second man to walk on the moon. Now charges for his autograph because he was basically bankrupt after divorcing his wife. And obviously everybody would get an autograph from him and sling it up on eBay and make $100 out of it. So he charges for his autograph now. Not because he wants to, just because he hasn't got any money. And he's not signing things for free that other people are going to go make a load of money out of. Question number 7. I'm not going to pronounce it, but it means I love you in which language? That's Welsh. Again, you could probably work that out. But I do love you guys. Question number 8. What are the 2 main political parties in the US? That is the Republicans and the Democrats. Blues and the Reds. So obviously that's probably not all going to take place now. Or certainly going to be delayed with what's going on. But we'll see if Trump gets back in. It's going to be very, very interesting. Question number 9. Who wanted to ask the Wizard of Oz for courage? Of course, it was the Cowardly Lion. I haven't seen that film in years. There's a lot of metaphors running through that film. Question number 10. In past times, what would a gentleman keep in his fob pocket? It was a pocket watch, usually on a chain, because the wristwatch hadn't been invented up until that point, but most gentlemen would have a pocket watch in their fob pocket. And that was how you got referred to the time. Brilliant. Well, that is it for this quiz. I hope you've enjoyed it. Tot everything up. Like I say, I know I've been asking you all through about what your scores are, but if you could pop your scores in the comments below, I'd really, really appreciate it. Because as I said, a lot of you will watch this, go off and do your own thing afterwards, and I don't know what the quality or the how the difficulty level was. Hopefully, I got that about right. As I say, we will be live streaming Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 PM. It would be absolutely fantastic if you could come along. It makes it seem a little bit more real when it's not a pre-recorded show. So I'd love to see as many of you as you can. And I'll try and get as many of you involved in the chat as I can. So if you post a message on Facebook, on Twitter, or on YouTube, I can link all of them and put up the messages on the stream. So I'll try and get as many of you involved as possible. Also, if you want to be on the show, all you need to do is go along to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/thevirtualquiz. Link is just down here in a minute. All you've got to do is like the page, and then I'll pick out 2 people at random using a randomly generated app and try and get 2 of you in and on the live stream live. So that should be a lot of fun, and also you can have a chat about yourself, and you can send yourself out to everybody else. In the meantime, I've really, really enjoyed doing this, as I always do. Let me know how you've enjoyed it. If you're on YouTube, if you could pop a like or hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. And if you're on Facebook and you haven't already, if you could follow the page, that'd be absolutely amazing. I hope you're all well. I hope you're not got too sick, or if you have, you're getting better and you're coping okay in these difficult times. As Boris said and everybody else, we will get through this. I'm pretty sure of that. Thank you to you for watching. This keeps me going, as well as bringing you some light entertainment. So I'll see you, dependent on the day, Wednesday or Sunday. In the meantime, I hope you're well, and I'll see you very, very soon. All the best. Take care of yourself.